Ketanji Brown Jackson up. We are Black women, we are our allies, and we're all here together tonight. So we want to inspire you, we want to celebrate you, and we want to show you the breadth and depth of the work that we have all been doing together to get us to this moment. Now, the finish line, it's in sight. Next week, the Senate Judiciary Committee is expected to vote Ketanji Brown Jackson out of committee. That means that not long after, the full Senate will vote on her nomination. And look, if need be, our very own Vice President Kamala Harris will break the tie, but it looks like that may not need to happen because Judge Jackson has garnered such widespread support from people of all different political persuasions. The people who know her best speak to her character, her integrity, and we sure saw that last week during the hearings. So we've got to also, though, do our work over the course of the next week to stay engaged and make sure that Ketanji Brown Jackson, we get her over that finish line and that she is confirmed by the full Senate to become the next Supreme Court Justice of the United States. So while we're celebrating, we're activating. You know, I had a thought during the hearings last week, some of those moments where they showed her and they showed those senators questioning her. And I thought, many of those folks have absolutely no idea what it took for her to be sitting there in that chair in this moment. But so many of us, we do know. And we know what's the work that's got to get done. So we're going to have her back. We're going to keep the momentum going. We're going to keep up our joy. And we are going to keep in action. What are we going to do? Well, we need you to keep lifting your voices and making them heard that you support Ketanji Brown Jackson. We need you to call your senators. I want you to also get 10 friends to call their senators, get 100 friends to call their senators. That's how important this moment is. We want you to keep speaking out on social media, talking to your friends and your neighbors, keeping the momentum and the excitement going. Because Black women in this moment, we are showing folks how it gets done. There's a reason that Ketanji Brown Jackson is going to be the most popular Supreme Court nominee ever. Poll after poll after poll shows Americans support her, 58%. 2/3 of the country support her and believe she should be confirmed. We helped make that happen because we helped lift her story. You know, Sisters actually hit the ground running even before Ketanji was named. One of the members of the Black Women's Leadership Collective, actually, Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, started organizing calls in February. These calls targeted the states that, with members of the Senate Judiciary Committee, to get people mobilized and ready and acting. As of March 29th, Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote has held calls, organizing calls in 20 states and engaged over 600 Black women leaders and our allies around the country. And the woman and her team behind that work was none other than Holly Holiday, the president of Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote. So I want to just pause here for a quick welcome from Holly.
Hello, and welcome to the Black Women's Leadership Collective National Call for Confirmed Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote has been all across this country, over 20 states, talking to Black women and their allies about what it takes to be in this moment, the things that we needed them to do. And because of you, we made it through the hearings. And we made it through the hearings because thousands of you called, sent emails, signed petitions, showed up at rallies, battled on social media, showed up and did podcasts and blogs and radio shows and television shows. It's because of you that she has made it through to this moment. But sisters, we are not done yet. And so we want to welcome you to the call. We want to welcome you to the last leg of this race and know that at the end of it, we are expecting victory. It is unfortunate that I'm not able to be with you today in person, but I am so confident that my sisters will hold it down in my absence. The Black Women's Leadership Collective is comprised of some amazing women and organizations, including Alpha Kappa Alpha, the Black Women's Roundtable, D4 Women in Action, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Higher Heights for America, the National Council of Negro Women, Power Rising, She Will Rise, Sigma Gamma Rho, Zeta Phi Beta Incorporated, Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote, The Links Incorporated, Win with Black Women, and so many other amazing leaders who have lent their time and talent and treasures in order to ensure that Black women's leadership was not only heard, felt, but followed in this moment. Sisters, we're almost to the finish line, but we need you to dig in just a little more. So to get you revved up and to remind you about why this moment is so important, I've invited the members and partners of the Black Women's Leadership Collective to join us tonight to make sure that we are not only inspired, but informed to get the job done. Thank you so much. A special thank you to Karen Finney for pinch hitting tonight as our moderator. A special thank you to the Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote team, including Chantel Mullen, Bree Maxwell, Jamori Holden, and Holly Weeks. None of this could be possible without them. You always have to remember to thank all of the folks who've helped get you on the way. And I would like to say it has been the pleasure of my life to be a part of this collective and to be a part of this movement. And the thing that has brought me the most joy is not just knowing that at the end of it, we will have a Supreme Court justice, but knowing that through this all, we have shown up in our best selves and our best light as Black women. Thank you so much for being a part of this. When this is done, we're all going to celebrate. We're going to continue our joy movement and take it right on through to the midterm elections. You all have a great evening, and I turn it back to Karen.
Oh, Holly, thank you so much. Gosh, I wish you could be with us tonight. This is going to be such a wonderful evening. So many wonderful sister leaders who are part of the collective, who have been working alongside all of you to get us to this moment. And I'm so thrilled right now to introduce April Rehm, who is co-founder of She Will Rise. And I just want to say, April, I so appreciate that you all got the drumbeat started almost immediately after Joe Biden first said that he was going to name a Black woman to the Supreme Court should he be elected. And you have kept it going. You have kept all of us going. And we are here now as a collective to join in this work. And I love that your focus is both on getting a Black woman on the Supreme Court, check, we're about to make that happen, and getting more Black women on the federal bench. So with no further ado, I want to introduce April Rehm, who's one of 4 co-founders, I should acknowledge, Brandy Collender, Kim Tignor, and Sabria I. Williams. April, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me today, Karen, and for that wonderful introduction. I am honored to be here to represent the other 3 members of our organization, Sister SCOTUS. She Will Rise was humbled and grateful to be able to witness the hearings firsthand, to understand the importance of this moment in her story as the first nomination and hopeful confirmation of a Black woman to the Supreme Court in America after nearly 233 years. The collective efforts of our work in partnership with other organizations, many of whom are on this call tonight, aligned in mission, have allowed us to demonstrate the importance of public confidence in the courts through inclusion. It is only through the enduring work of we the people that we truly work toward a more perfect union, a union that looks like America and operates from a more informed posture. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson serves as a beautiful American story, a product of the Supreme Court clerkship pipeline, a humble servant and advocate for those without resources to ensure access to the judicial system, a clear champion to the reality, not the ideal, of equal justice under the law for all. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson demonstrated immense fortitude and composure during her week of marathon confirmation hearings. Her ability to maintain respectful and thoughtful responses to interrogations that were, at times, unworthy of any bench, accompanied by false accusations regarding her record, are forever cemented in the minds of all who watched. It is shameful, desperate, and telling. Despite less productive uses of platform and opportunity utilized by some senators during the hearing session this past week, the ability to better understand the approach, record, and analysis of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson was an important exercise in democracy. We continue to stand firm in our alignment with the impeccably qualified, poised, and thoughtful nominee. So we, as you mentioned, Karen, on sistascotus.org, not only are we championing the nomination and eventual confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, but at this point, there are at least 8 other Black women in the federal judiciary pipeline who are waiting to be confirmed. So we would encourage everyone on this call, as Karen mentioned, talk to a friend, talk to your social networks, and call your senators and tell them that we want this confirmation to happen. And it's for all senators, even if those senators have already confirmed that they will be voting to confirm Judge Jackson, we still want to apply that gentle pressure to them and say, look, you have our support. Go and talk to your other senators who may be on the fence. And you can also go to sistascotus.org and learn more about the other Black women judges who are in that pipeline and who could eventually become the next Supreme Court nominee as a Black woman. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for the support of all of the collaborations that we've had through this organization and Black Women's Leadership Collective. And I turn it back to you, Sister Finney.
Thank you so much, Sister April. And I don't know if you saw in the chat, folks were like, where do we get that pin? Well, we put the URL in the chat so you can get pins, you can get t-shirts, you can get posters. I want to affirm something that April just said. And when Clarence Thomas, different judge I know, was up for the Supreme Court, I happened to work for Senator Alan Cranston, who used to be a senator from California. We logged from the field offices and the main office how many calls we were getting every day. We had to turn in a log that told them how many no's and how many yeses. So I want you to know that your calls matter. Your tweets, your emails, they matter. And as she said, even if you think your senator is already supporting her, go ahead and thank them for supporting Ketanji Brown Jackson. That's okay too. All right, now I'm so honored to introduce someone who is a friend, a mentor, someone I've known for a long time. I've worked with her. I've learned from her. She is a faith leader. She is a brilliant political strategist. She is an author. She is co-leader of the BWLC, and in fact, was part of a small group of us who just had a call in a couple of days after we knew there was going to be an opening and said, let's do this. Leah said, why don't we just get all the Black women's groups together and use our collective power? She is also co-convener of Power Rising. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Bishop Leah Daughtry. Leah, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, sisters. It is always good to be in the company of my sisters, and I'm so glad to be with you all tonight. And I just, as we reflect on this moment of joy and of celebration, the question was asked, how did we get here? And how are we organized? Well, I want to step back and I want to position us and say that it was the persistence and the insistence of Black women that created the conditions for this historic nomination to take place. It was our political prowess, our ability demonstrated to show up that made it possible, that created the conditions for candidate Joe Biden to make the promise that he would appoint a Black woman to the Supreme Court. And then once elected, we didn't put the banner down, we didn't drop the baton, but we kept the pressure on. It was our political understanding, our political sophistication that created the conditions that he had to keep the promise. We've been in America long enough to know that elected officials make us a lot of promises and they don't all get kept. But Joe Biden, President Joe Biden, understood what it would mean for him to keep this particular promise. And so we've created the opportunity, sisters. We created this opportunity for this nomination to be possible. And you know what happens when preparation meets opportunity. So while we were creating the path, Ketanji Brown Jackson was getting herself ready. And so when the opportunity presented itself, when the door opened, she was able to walk in. And now that she's been nominated, we know what Black women do. We can't stop. We won't stop. We don't stop. We said, now we've got a nominee. Now we've got to make this confirmation come to pass. We've got to do our part like we know how to do in order to make things happen. And again, it was our insistence, our resilience, our persistence, our insistence that this happened, that we came together as sisters and said, what are we going to do? What is the best demonstration of our power? What is the best demonstration of our sisterhood? And each of us and Holly's called the roll, each of us has an organization. Each of us was working to do our part, and we decided, let's come together and let's try to work together and collaborate on the work that needs to be done and support each other, but not duplicate each other, play to our strengths. And so we can move this forward. And so we have just had the best time working with one another. And I want to let you know, this isn't a coalition that just started. We've been working together, collaborating together for years. And now we just made it formal with the Black Women's Leadership Collective. So we're excited to support Judge Jackson. We're excited that we had such a stellar candidate to support, that we could do it without holding our noses, that we could do it fully, freely, openly, with joy and exuberance, because she was ready for the opportunity. She was ready to walk through the open door that, sisters, we created. We created this open door, and I never want us to forget that we created this possibility. And as we move forward and Sister SCOTUS continues its work, and as we look toward the midterms, remember that we have the power to create the opportunity, to create the conditions that will bring liberation and forward movement to our people. But the best part of this whole thing has been getting to work with my sisters, getting to see Black women at their best, getting to see the excellence and the hard work of creating this opportunity, creating these relationships, putting our shoulder to the wheel, being with sister warriors. That's the best part for me. And seeing what we're able to do together. And when Judge Jackson is confirmed next week, we hope, we pray, I believe in my prophetic voice, I believe it's going to happen. Sisters, it will be time for us to celebrate. It will be time for us to dance with joy, to rejoice, to play a little music, to have a little sip of whatever you're sipping, and to celebrate the victory that we have. And then the next day, shoulder to the wheel as we look toward the midterms, as we look toward the other judges, as we look toward the other folks who are up at the Senate for confirmation. As Joe Biden said, we got to make the court look like the country. Our work isn't done until we have more LGBT folks on the court. Well, till we have open LGBT folks on the court, until we have Asian folks on the court, until we have more people who look like the country on the court. And you know, when we work for everybody. We are equal opportunity warriors. If you are on the right side of history, the right side of issues, we will put our shoulder to the wheel and work for you. So sisters, I'm excited about tonight, about all of our sisters who are going to be speaking to you. And I'm excited for you to hear what each is doing in their place and how they are contributing to the moment that we have created.
Whew. Come on now. I told y'all we were going to be inspired, didn't I? Leah, whew, she is so right on. And she's so right. Let's all hold that for just a moment. We created the conditions for what we are experiencing right now in this moment. That is our power as Black women. And together we get it done. And I am so honored to introduce another sister warrior leader who just gets it done. It's so important to our movement. She is there on the front lines and has been, always fighting for Black women, for our people, for our communities. Janice Mathis, Executive Director of the National Council of Negro Women. She is just a phenomenal leader, and I'm so honored, Janice, that you're with us tonight as we celebrate and we get ready for next week.
Thank you so much, Karen. It is such an honor to be part of this Black Women's Leadership Collective. This is a moment in time. This is a moment in history. This is what we will tell our children and our grandchildren. We were there. I like what Bishop Leah said about we created the opportunity. There's a saying that says opportunity knocks, but in some neighborhoods, opportunity doesn't really knock. You have to go out and grab opportunity by the throat and bring it into your community, bring it into your collective, and do what it is that we can do. And what I enjoyed about this season, we had taken some licks. We didn't get George Floyd passed. We didn't get the kind of criminal justice reform that we wanted. We were disappointed and dismayed by the failure to get voting rights fully protected. I watched in horror. I think I've been working for the last 40 years on voting rights. I looked at horror when we saw state after state after state passing these regressive laws, shutting down polling places, shutting down ballot boxes, passing redistricting plans that make no sense at all. But we weren't deterred by that. When this opportunity came, and it didn't just come, it was created. Leah said it best. And I'm just grateful to Leah for her vision, Bishop Leah. Let me be more precise, the Right Reverend Leah Doughtry, that she came up with this idea of the Black Women's Leadership Collective. Forget the symbols, forget the colors. Doesn't matter if you wear pink and green, red and white, blue and white. We came together across all of that because we could see, we could keep our eyes on the prize, and the prize was something that we needed because we really haven't had a voice on the Supreme Court. We Black women, our perspective has not really been represented since Thurgood Marshall left the Supreme Court. But we said, we're not gonna waste this opportunity. We're not gonna squander this opportunity. We're gonna squeeze every bit of possibility out of this, not just for ourselves, but for our ancestors, for my mother. I wish my mother was here to see this, and somehow I think she is. And we do it for our grandchildren. My granddaughter, who is all of 7 and the tallest person on her basketball team, won her first basketball game yesterday. We're doing it for all of them. And what was it that we did? We held speak outs. Melanie Campbell has been my partner. We were partnering all through the voting rights debates and the criminal justice debates. But you know what? We couldn't wear sackcloth and ashes. It wasn't a time for us to mourn and pity ourselves. It was a time to be our best, do our best, put our best feet forward. Every day I look forward to what Karen Finney had to say and what she reported to us about what was in the news. And I cut and pasted and posted it on Facebook and amplified it on Twitter, everything that I could think of to get the word out that we were not going to we knew it was going to be brutal. Yeah. We knew the questioning would be tough. We knew it would be unfair. We knew because we saw Josh Hawley raise his fist on January the 6th. We knew what the opposition was capable of. I'm from South Carolina. I know what Lindsey Graham is capable of, but we were not deterred by the ferocity of the opposition because we knew that there was, Mary McLeod Bethune, who was the founder of NCNW, used to say, without faith, nothing is possible. With faith, everything and anything is possible. We held that possibility within our hearts because we knew that this moment of preparation, and we keep saying when preparation meets opportunity, then that's when justice occurs. People have asked me, why were you for Joe Biden? Well, one reason I was for him was because he promised to put a Black woman on the Supreme Court. And I remained for him and grateful because he carried out his promise. You know, there were people telling him, you don't have to do that. You got a Black vice president, that's enough. That's enough. But he had the courage of his convictions and enough integrity to move the ball forward. I'm so proud of my NCNW family. Affiliates, when we had the speak outs, they came from Florida and Georgia and Ohio and New York. And people were calling and tweeting and posting all over this nation to say we will not be denied. You know, there's a saying that I grew up with, winners never quit and quitters never win. We are not quitters, not by a long shot. We are winners. We are winning now, but no, we're not gonna stop until we get Ketanji Brown Jackson all the way across the finish line. It was important for us to bat down those disingenuous attacks they tried to make against her record when she is thoroughly in the mainstream of judges. A 2% rate of rejection at the courts of appeals. When her cases went up, she was affirmed 98% of the time. We had a candidate we could be proud of. We have a nominee that we can have faith in. And so there was no reason for us not to do our best. But I tell you what, when I interviewed Holly Holiday this morning on the radio, it was with a joy, not just that Ketanji Brown Jackson is going on the court, but that we have solidified our identity and our capability as Black women leaders to have our way. I sometimes joke with my skeptical friends and I tell them, you don't know how good government can be until you let Black women run the show. We are patriotic. I call it matriotic. We are patriotic. We are matriotic. We care about everybody. We bring everybody to the table. When Black women win, everybody wins. Joe Taker, people were raising money. People were, New York Times, my folk was so thrilled to see their names in that New York Times ad. We're gonna be able to live off of that for a year or so to come. So my heart is just full of gratitude, but I also know that when you're in a race, even when you're ahead, you don't stop. When you're in a race, you go to the finish line. So we're gonna finish strong. We're calling on everybody April the 5th, the day after we expect the Judiciary Committee to vote, to make your voices heard. Make your voices heard. We're gonna go right on through April the 11th, and whatever they throw at us in that floor debate, we're gonna confront it, we're gonna defeat it, we're gonna expose it for the lack of honesty and clarity that it represents. And then we can celebrate and be proud. Look at what we did. Look at what we did. Look at what we're capable of. Thank you, and God bless each and every one of you.
Thank you so much, Sister Janice, for everything that you're doing. To all the NCNW family, thank you so much. This is so wonderful. You know, Ketanji got called. Somebody else got a call when Ketanji got called. A very dear friend, a sister leader, a mentor, who put her life on hold to answer that call from the White House, let me be clear, to go and serve as the White House nomination advisor for engagement. I'm talking about the one and only Mignon Moore. She is an author, she is a speaker, she is an advisor to presidents. I had the opportunity to work with her in the Clinton administration, and she has advised many presidents, Democrats, let me be clear. She's joining us today from the White House, where she has just so brilliantly and so valiantly been there to help guide this process, to make sure that across the country, people are engaged and involved in this process and see themselves in this process. So without further ado, let me please welcome, and please join me in welcoming, Mignon Moore.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Karen. It is indeed an honor to be on this call with so many sister friends. You know, I say this jokingly, but I actually say it from my heart. I wish I was on the outside with you all, because I know you have just been creating more magic than we can. As somebody just said, that you'll have enough history to live on for another election cycle, which starts right after we get the SCOTUS and get her confirmed. But first, I want to just start by thanking everyone on this call, and in particular, the collective who came together, who put all differences aside. It appears that all egos were put aside, because, you know, you all are some powerful, powerful, powerful women, but you decided that you had one mission, and that mission was to get a Supreme Court justice. And I wish I could say that it was because of something I did or something the White House did. What the president did was nominate her. What you all did was secure the votes. Yesterday, we received a key vote, Senator Collins, so she now has bipartisan support. She is still up on the Hill. She is still doing courtesy visits. By the time she's finished, she probably will have seen almost 90 some odd senators. She is being, any person that asks for a visit, she sits with them. Some have been tougher than others. But as we witnessed in the hearings, she has the Constitution, she has the perseverance, but she also knows, and Leah knows this because we had a great faith-based call earlier today. She has the value system, and you can tell that she believes that something inside of her is propelling her, not just because she's legally capable, not just because she is probably one of the most brilliant people I have ever met, but she also knows at this particular time, at this particular moment in history, she is being summoned to do something higher than herself. And she will take that brilliance, but she will also take the communities that are never seen with her. I do like to remind people of her impeccable credentials. And there's a chart that's going around that shows that she is probably more qualified than most of the jurists that sit today. And so while she had a tough hearing, we're used to tough. We're used to fighting back. We're used to standing up for ourselves. But in this instance, America stood with her. As you can see, she is rated the highest in the polls. And I think this is something that the entire administration is looking at. And it's because of all of the things that you all are doing on the outside. You know, I'm serving in a similar role that I served in the Clinton administration. But this is what I was always clear about. It is we, the people. We, the people. And you all have galvanized in such unprecedented and beautiful ways. And I hope that if you do nothing else, you stop and thank yourselves profusely, because what you have done, not just for Judge Jackson, but what you did for Kamala Harris, what you did for Joe Biden, will go down in history as one of the most remarkable assembly of Black women I have ever seen, and I have ever had the privilege of working with. And the reason why you keep getting judges, you keep getting vice presidents, you keep getting appointments, because you keep showing up. And what I'm most proud about is you understand your voice. You understand the power of the voice, and you understand the power of the collective now. We know that next week will start. We hope to have her voted out of committee on Monday. We pray, we know she will be voted out of committee on Monday. And once that happens, you will probably witness some more speeches that come to the floor. There will be things that we will want to hear, and there will be things that we will probably want to ignore. But just as Judge Jackson has taught us, discipline and perseverance, which you all have shown throughout this entire fight, I can tell you there probably been many a times where we've wanted to go in a different direction, but because we got the great bishop and some of these other reverends on this call, we all learned to temper ourselves. We learned to put our resting face on like, that's interesting, but we know it's not true. And so keep raising her name, keep presenting the joy. Hopefully by this time next week, we will have a Supreme Court Justice of the United States. Her name will be Ketanji Brown Jackson, as she so eloquently put it, as she talked about the African origins of her name, but she will be us and we will be her. I was saying to the group earlier today, yesterday was a little bit tough for her, but I decided what I would do is pull together some of the clips, pull together some of the beautiful work that you all have been doing and send it to her. And when she saw that, she had saw the ad last week, but thank God for Karen who knew how to send the PDF. I was able to send the PDF. That is nothing short of a miracle. When I saw that and all those names, and I kept telling Leah, I needed to have my name on that, but it's on there in spirit. But when I saw all those names, I tell you, it just brought me to tears. And it also brought me to my knees, because I know that that was nothing but God leading you all to lift this woman up on a day that she was being torn down, and torn down for reasons that we know. She is qualified. She has impeccable credentials. She has served at the highest levels. She has served on the U.S. Sentencing Commission. She has done everything that we need a judge to do. And she has a 360 view of what she will be taken to the Supreme Court. The White House has been vigorous in their support. Don't make no mistake about it. Every misinformation, disinformation is being met with fact. If you all feel like you're not getting the information to defend her, Karen and Leah and Holly and others know how to reach me. So please let this week that we're going into, let it be a week of information. Let us continue to have the joy. Don't let nobody turn us around. We know that she will come out of committee on the day that Dr. King was assassinated, but on the day that Dr. Maya Angelou was born. And with that prophetic witness, we will take her to the next level. And I want to raise one other point. She will be confirmed, hopefully by the time they get ready to go to recess. She will not have been sworn in until Breyer steps down. So we still have a window where we're going to have to be mindful, and we're going to have to keep watchful. Not that they can do anything to her, but you know, once you get that, raise that right hand to God, that's when we seal the deal. So stay vigilant and stay prayerful and keep lifting her up. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. If I could hug each one of you, I would do that. And thank you for all the support you've given me as I've returned back to the White House, and hopefully will be coming back to be a part of you very soon. Thank you so much.
Oh, Mignon, thank you so much. You are always, always, always a part of us. You help fuel us. You help lead us. You are our joy. We are so grateful to you for answering the call from President Biden and Vice President Harris to come support Ketanji Brown Jackson. And I have to tell you, one of the things that made me the most comfortable watching those attacks was knowing you were sitting right there behind her. And I knew she was in good hands. She was in God's hands. She was in all of our hands, but she had Mignon right there behind her. And let me tell you, that is a powerful, powerful place to be, to have Sister Mignon right there with you. So thank you. All right, sisters, we are now going to, we've been talking about centering our stories, the lived experiences, shaping the narrative, as Mignon was talking about. I know folks want to see the New York Times ad. We're going to get that link for you in the chat. And my hope is that we'll do it. We want to get people to keep signing on. Let me also mention, I think it was in the chat, She Will Rise has a letter of support that you can sign on to. Go to their website. Please use the hashtag confirm Judge Jackson. That's the hashtag we're trying to use to keep the momentum, to keep our joy going. So now I want us to take a look at a video that we did with Building Back Together. Really lovely video. I'm very proud of it. That helps to tell Judge Jackson's story. And as Mignon said, we know there's going to be folks next week who are going to try to attack her and give him misinformation. And the reason they do that is that's all they have. She is so brilliant. She is so qualified. She is so phenomenal. They had to interrupt her because if they let her answer the question with the full truth, well, their message just crumbled. So that's why they're resorting to this. So right now I want to share this video and share a bit of her story with you.
Supreme Court nominee Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson's legal career has been exceptional.
I believe it's time that we have a court that reflects the full talents and greatness of our nation.
Graduating with honors from Harvard Law, Judge Jackson has seen all sides of the justice system up close as a federal judge, with family who served in law enforcement, as a public defender, and on the U.S. Sentencing Commission. Judge Jackson was confirmed 3 times with bipartisan support by the U.S. Senate, where conservatives praised her integrity as unequivocal. Now, she'll be the first Black woman on the nation's highest court.
I am standing here today by the grace of God, and if I am fortunate enough to be confirmed as the next Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, I can only hope that my life will inspire future generations of Americans.
Qualified, principled, exceptional. Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, a Supreme Court justice for all of us.
Yes, a Supreme Court justice for all of us. She is qualified. She has character. She has the experience. And we've got to keep having her back and telling her story. Now, I am thrilled to introduce another one of our amazing collective partners, the esteemed Dr. Kimberly Jeffries Leonard. She is the 17th National President of the Links Incorporated and the Links Foundation. And you all know the Links, just a phenomenal organization, 15,000 professional women of color in 288 chapters across the United States, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and the United Kingdom. And they have been a powerful part of our collective. Dr. Leonard, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Karen. I am so excited to be here, and I'm so honored to be here in the company of my sisters, as we heard earlier. And I'm so proud that the Links is a part of this Black Women's Leadership Collective, because, you know, we are stronger when we are together. And so when all of the sisters on this call tonight see this ad and see all of these women who have signed their names, there are a lot of links on here because, as Karen said, we have over 16,000 members. We have 292 chapters, and we were proud to put our voice behind the confirmation of a woman, a Black woman, who is so qualified to sit in this seat. We just are excited for her. We're excited for this country, and we're excited to see what she's going to do. We thank President Biden for really delivering on his promise. But I thank all of the Black women who are gathered here. I thank all of the members of the Links Incorporated who have lifted up her voice, who have lifted up her credentials, who have lifted up her record to ensure that those who were a part of that confirming body saw beyond the fact that she was a Black woman, saw beyond the fact that she would be making history, and understood that she is qualified and is needed for this time and for this place. And so we do have a lot of work to do. And what we have been doing is calling our senators, making sure that they understand where we stand. We're a nonpartisan organization, but we know what's good for our people and our community. And we know that having her voice on that bench is going to make a huge difference in the lives and the trajectories of so many lives in this country. So we ask you to continue to do this work, continue to galvanize, continue to uplift your voice so our senators know this is where we stand, this is what we believe, and this is what we want you to do. So I'm going to make sure that we have time for all of the other phenomenal leaders of organizations to be heard. But I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you on behalf of the Links Incorporated. Thank the Links, thank Black women, and thank you all for making sure that we're on that wall to stand in the gap for Judge Jackson. Thank you so much, Karen, for allowing me this time.
Thank you so much. You know, I was thinking about when I was watching Judge Jackson, as Mignon was so many have talked about, this is a new chapter in our nation's history. Think about what this means for our children, who they're going to look and say, you can be president, you can be vice president, you can be on the Supreme Court. This is just an amazing time. And we have helped to get us to this moment. And we've got to stay in that joy because, as Mignon talked about, they're going to come for her next week again, and they're going to do it because we have been so effective. We have helped to make her the most popular Supreme Court nominee in the history of this country. So she's making all kinds of history as she breaks through, as my sister Joteka likes to say, this concrete ceiling. I want to introduce partners coming to you now. From Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. They're going to share with us their perspectives. They've been phenomenal partners as well, helping to, and if, by the way, if you're a member of any of these organizations, let them know you're here. Say it in the chat. Say hello. Because we are all unified and we are all together tonight, just as we have been and just as we will continue to be for Judge Jackson and all the way through this election to make sure we deliver for our people. So kicking us off, I want to introduce Emma Barron. She is North Atlantic Representative, International Connection Social Action Committee for the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Thank you so much. Irma, my gosh, I think I said Emma, I'm so sorry.
Thank
Irma,
you.
thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, I think
And my sisters from all over the country and all the different organizations. I am so honored and so proud to be here. I have a lot to get off my chest, but I know I have a limited amount of time. So what I want to just say, I believe in celebrations, and we must celebrate, and we must feel proud, and we must continue the work because there is a lot of work to be done. Weren't you so proud was that, have you ever seen a greater demonstration of character? Character. I can tell you, sitting at home, watching the hearings, I could not demonstrate what Judge Brown Jackson did. In fact, I was on the telephone calling the senators, telling them, if you're going to take 5 minutes to ask a question, at least give her 5 minutes to answer. But as we said, we're going to hold fast. We're going to show grace. We're going to be there, but we're going to let our senators know what we expect of them. We expect them to confirm her. We expect them to use their influence with the other senators to make sure they come along as well. And so with that, I say Alpha Kappa Alpha members will be out there making phone calls. We'll be out there doing whatever we need to do to make sure that when this is over, we will be standing proud and we will be celebrating along with all of my sisters across this globe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Can't stop, won't stop. And we're not stopping either. Okay. I'm so honored to now introduce Kyla Crane. She's representing Delta Sigma Theta Social Action Committee. Thank you so much, Kyla.
Thank you so much, Karen. Good to be with you. Good evening to all of my sisters. On behalf of our National President, Elsie Cook Holmes, and chair of our board of directors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, as well as our 501c4 D4 Women in Action President, Siobhan Arline Bradley. I want to bring you greetings from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated and our over 300,000 members all around the world in over 1,000 chapters, both alumni and collegiate. Sister friends, it matters. It matters that Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson is not only prepared, but is qualified and ready to take her seat as the 116th Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. It matters that we galvanize all of our brothers and sisters in our communities in 2020 to make sure that we were able to make our voices heard in that election, and that the COVID pandemic or no other misinformation and disinformation would deter us from doing what we needed to do to lend our voices in that ballot box in November of 2020. It matters that Ketanji Brown Jackson grew up in Miami in public school so that she understands what all of us who went through public schools and that send our children to public schools go through, and that it matters about the issues that may come before her on the Supreme Court as it deals with public education. It matters that her parents are HBCU graduates, and she understands the fundamental importance of our HBCUs, as we have been founded at Howard University, my alma mater for law school. It matters that she understands the importance of HBCUs. So, sorors and friends, it matters that she was a public defender, a federal public defender. So she understands the plight of people who may not be able to pay for a legal representation. And so she can see the legal perspective from all walks of life. And it matters that she wants to breathe humanity into our criminal justice system. As vice chair of the U.S. Citizens Commission, it wasn't that she just wanted to send people off to jail. She wanted to breathe humanity in our criminal justice system. And I believe that we believe that she will do that as an associate justice on the Supreme Court of the United States. But what else does it matter? It matters that you call your senators and let them know that they need to confirm without hesitation or reservation Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. It matters that you email them. It matters that you tweet them. It matters that you go on Facebook and make sure that they know that we wholeheartedly support this nomination, not just because she's a Black woman, because she's a qualified Black woman. She is a prepared Black woman, and she is ready for this job. So we stand together with the Black Women's Leadership Collective in support of Judge Jackson, and we know that we love the number 22, so there's no better year to confirm the first Black woman to the United States Supreme Court than in 2022 with Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. Let's go to work, sisters. We have more work to do. Thank you so much, Sister Finney.
Thank you so much, Kayla, and I apologize, I mispronounced your name. But thank you so much. And like you said, it matters. Let's keep remembering that. All of what we're doing matters, and we're winning. We are helping her get across that finish line, and we can see the end of it, but we have more work to do. So we have got to stay at it and do what we do as Black women. Can't stop, won't stop. I am now honored to introduce Nicole Butler, who is International Social Action Director for Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated. Nicole, thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. I shout out to all the sisters on the call and the sisters that are watching on stream everywhere. Everyone has said it already, that this woman is qualified, that she is educated, dedicated, and has been in the room. It's our job to keep her in the room. We know her pathway. Let's help her continue it by sitting her on that court. Now, as an educator, got to highlight our educators in the room. I would love to take my students to the Supreme Court and have my young Black girls look at the bench and say, oh, I could be right there with her. That's my mirror. I see her there. And that is what Zeta is proud to push behind. We have our youth program. We are educating them internally, telling them this is where you can go. This is how far you can go. We educate girls from 4 to 18. So we could tell our 4-year-old Pearlettes, you can sit on that bench at 20, 35 years. You can sit there because she sat there. And so that's an important message we need to push out. Also with Zeta, on March 2nd, we had a special discussion about what does this mean? What do we do? And how do we keep the momentum going? And as all the sisters on the call have said, call, call, call. And when you call again. And then if you haven't called, call again. And when you call one more time, just for good measure. Call 5 times. 5 is our number. So call 5 times. That's Monday through Friday when they're open. So I'll leave you with this. Ketanji is bringing all of us in the room. So it's our job to make sure we show up for her at her time of need. And she needs us to make those calls. Thank you for having me. And this is an awesome event just to get the word out for everybody to call.
Thank you so much, Nicole. When I think about our kids, think about the fact that what we're saying to our children, especially Black girls, little girls, as Nicole was saying, there is no stereotype, there is no box that can hold you, because there is no dream that is too big. That's what Ketanji said to herself when her high school counselor said, maybe not Harvard. She said, I'm gonna dream big and I'm gonna make it happen. That's what I want all our little girls to know. That's what her being on the bench means. There is no dream that is too big. I am so honored with that to introduce Judge Anita Laster. She is She is Social Actions Chair for Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Judge, it is an honor to have you with us tonight.
Thank you. And it is an honor to be here tonight. On behalf of Sigma Gamma Rho's International Grand Basilisk, Rashida S. Liberty, I am just, again, so proud to be here during our centennial year, 2022. But one of the things that I really want to say regarding this event, this history-making event as well, is that many times we are the only one in the room. And so we need that support. We need to be lifted up. And as I was watching the hearings, I said she had the right temperament. She was patient. She was very thoughtful in her answers. She's very qualified. And so in that misery, they gave her a ministry and continued with our mission. And so our mission is to continue to push her, to continue, like if she's feeling like she's bending over, we're here to straighten her up. If she's feeling that she's a little slacking, we're gonna push her forward, because that's what we do as a collective. And so that's why I'm happy that we're here to continue to push and to call and do whatever we can do to make sure that she is confirmed. But I already know it's done. It's already called. It's in the words. It's already been written that she will be confirmed. But it's so important to have diversity and inclusion in our courts. And so as this confirmation vote comes on, I believe it should be the 11th, but on April 4th is when they're supposed to vote her out of committee. Well, she will be voted out of committee, but I want us to continue to call, continue to email, whatever is necessary, because I know that we've been, just like you all have been, posting and having our family members call and post different things. So we got this, and she's gonna make it. And I always say as a judge, I can't endorse, but I can push her forward. And
Yes.
so I'm excited, and Sigma Gamma Rho is so excited to be here at the table, to keep her at the table. And so thank you for this opportunity tonight.
Thank you so much, Judge. And your words are so meaningful. You know what it takes to be a judge. You know what it meant for her to be sitting there. There were times I noticed there were times it felt like she had to explain the law to some of the senators because their questions were so convoluted. She had to explain, this is how Congress works to some of them. All right, we're going to keep it moving. And I'm so honored. I'm just honored. I'm just honored to be part of this sisterhood, this energy. It's so positive. And we know we got hard work to do, but as we do it together, it helps keep us all lifted. Now I'm going to introduce Dara Baldwin. She is a disability justice activist. She is also director of national policy for the Center for Disability Rights. She's part of the She Will Rise collective. And she is here to talk to us about what her movement is doing and what this means for the disability justice movement as we get Ketanji Brown Jackson on the court.
Thank you, my sister Karen. Peace and blessings to all. Power to Black women, power to Black women, power to Black women. Black women get it done. And I am so glad to be here to represent the disability community. Disability justice women around the country are in complete support of Ketanji Brown Jackson, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. And we also want you to know that on April 5th will be our day that we are highlighting disability justice and how Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson has been wonderful in her many judgments on the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, and Section 504. And for you all who know, those are disability laws, civil rights laws that protect disabled people. And in disability justice, we center Black BIPOC folks who are disabled. And in many of her cases, when she gets on the court, she will be the only Supreme Court justice who has judged favorably on ADA cases. One of them, just so you know, in communications in the prison system, our deaf people who are incarcerated rarely have any kind of communications because there's no sign language and there's no video relay. And in fact, the case here in DC, where I am from, and I must say DC statehood, she did a really great case for a family who the gentleman could not communicate with his family because DC, we do not have a prison system here, and the federal prison system will not allow for that to happen. And she judged very well on that case. And so we in the disability community are honored and happy that this is happening. And I must say, as a Black woman, I too am really sad that my grandmother and mother are not allowed to see this, who were social justice activists, who were members of the AME Church, who were members of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, my sorority, where we do social justice. And it is absolutely amazing to see Black women in power and in work. I am always honored to be in a space with Holly, to be in a space with this collective. Melanie Campbell, thank you, my sister, my soror, for always lifting us. It is imperative that we all know that disabilities is important, that you may not have a disability today, but it only takes a second for you to have a disability. And if we do not know what happened during COVID, understand and know most all of us are suffering in some way with mental health diagnoses and those things. And through all of that, we have still been here and said we support the Democrats and all people who are running for offices, and we supported Joe Biden. Disabled people came out, even during a pandemic. They came out and voted. They voted by mail where they could. And they also are pushing forward and saying, stop voter suppression. Let me be very clear that when it comes to voter suppression, that disabled people are at the top. When you create polls that are not accessible, when you create processes that are not accessible, that is voter suppression. And we try to overcome those things. And it is people like Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who has always been there for us, who has always talked to us, who has sat down and asked and learned about the community, right? It's like one thing to sit on the bench and make judgments. As you all watched her in those hearings, she knew about those subject matters, but she also knew about the people. That is who she is. She is a wonderful person. From what I've heard, I've never met her, but all the people, the disabled people I know who went and talked to her about why it's important for Uber to be accessible. She judged very well on that case as well. She has done wonders for us in our community, and we are here for her. The last thing I'll say is we keep saying call our senators. I am a resident of the District of Columbia, and I don't have any senators to call. Let me say that again. I do not have senators to call because we don't have DC statehood. So please, you are blessed to have 2 senators to call them every single day. And Karen said it, I work on the Hill, that's my job. Not only when they call, will they record this in their offices, but this will be on congressional record forever. And many of our members who are gonna have hard elections, like Senator Warnock in Georgia, he can say, I got over 5,000 phone calls that told me to vote yes. We know he's going to vote yes, but he can hold that up. He can put that in an ad. He can talk to people who are angry with him if he votes yes. Those members can use that information. So call, question was there, say what day to call? Call every day. Get up at 9 o'clock in the morning, make that phone call and keep on going with your day. And then get 10, 15, 20 people you know to call. Let us get Ketanji Brown Jackson confirmed. The disability community, disability justice community is all here for it. And thank you very much for this time to talk. My sisters, be careful out there. We are still in the pandemic. Peace and blessings.
Thank you so much, Dara. You know, I'll just add my own 2 cents. Some of y'all know I had brain surgery in 2021, and my left vocal cord is paralyzed. And my life changed like that. And I talk for a living. And I struggled for a lot of last year with a voice that was much softer than this. And I have to navigate the world differently. But having the mindfulness that we have brothers and sisters out there who are dealing with all kinds of challenges and making sure that the law is looking out for them, especially because we already, as Black women, have to navigate the world a little differently anyway. So thank you, Dara, for what you are doing, for your work and for your words. Well, I'm about to introduce someone who I just love hearing from. Like I told y'all, tonight's is inspiring, it's motivating, it's mobilizing, it's activating. I want to introduce and a phenomenal law professor, someone I've gotten the chance to know just a little bit in this process. Najeri Mathis Rutledge, who is at the South Texas College of Law on the faculty there. She got her BA from Spelman. She got her JD from Harvard. So she got all the letters and all the credentials. Najeri, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Karen, for having me. I am so excited. As I graduated from Spelman College, I know that there is nothing more powerful than a motivated Black woman. And if you put motivated Black women together, we can do anything. There's also nothing more beautiful than sisterhood. And this is just such a wonderful, wonderful collective. I am a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, but I don't speak for my sorority today. I'm also a proud 1996 graduate of Harvard Law School, meaning I was one of Ketanji's classmates. So I am super, super happy to be here. You know, sisters, we've had some dark days. We had to deal with Trump. We had to deal with COVID. We had to deal with January 6th. But my faith tells me that joy comes in the morning. And I want to remind you all that morning is coming. I was so proud to see Judge Jackson stand against those racist dog whistles and those irrelevant questions about critical race theory, calling her soft on crime and all that other nonsense. And she stood firm. She stood firm for what she believed in. She stood firm for the Constitution. And she made us proud, just as she has made me proud as her classmate, listening to her in law school with just a brilliant, brilliant person. I also know that to know her is to love her. She is such a wonderful person and so very, very deserving of this moment. As we get ready to celebrate, we still have work to do. We've already heard that midterms are coming and we need to support our president who kept his promise. I am so grateful for President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris for their wise decision to keep that promise of nominating a Black woman to the Supreme Court. As we get ready for our midterms, I just want us to take time to rejoice before we get ready to battle again. As people have already said, the nonsense is coming. Nonsense on the floor about who Judge Jackson is, but we know the truth and we have to spread the truth. As a law professor, I come from one of the hundreds of Black law professors and Black deans who have been writing op-eds and giving interviews and trying to dispel misinformation about Judge Jackson, her record, and the law. I encourage all of you, I so appreciate Sister Dara's talking about righteous senator. I don't feel like I have a senator. Ted Cruz is my senator. But you know what, Sister Dara? Just because you said it, I'm going to call him anyway, and John Cornyn. But also write those op-eds and keep praying for her. I wanted to, before I go, show you a quick picture. I don't know if you can see it. Uh-oh. That is me behind Judge Jackson's desk because I had tickets for 2 days of the Senate hearings. I want you to know I laid hands on her chair. And I want you to know, as a woman of faith, I laid hands on her chair and I prayed that she would feel the spirit and the prayers and the love and the support of everyone rooting for her and of our ancestors. I know I can't speak for Judge Jackson, but I want you to know that not only is she a wonderful, dear person who is kind, because I know her character personally, I know she'd want to say thank you. Thank you for fighting for her. Thank you for speaking up for her. Thank you for lifting her up in prayer. We will celebrate this moment. We are so grateful for Senator Collins that she is going to be on the right side of history, but we need more. She has had bipartisan support on 3 separate occasions with her Senate confirmations. She deserves full bipartisan support. She deserves a unanimous vote. Let's face it, there is no one who has been more qualified to be on that court, at least in the last 3 or 4 nominations at least. And so we are so extremely proud of her. Thank you, Sister SCOTUS. Thank you, She Will Rise. Thank you, Higher Heights. Thank you, Win with Black Women. Thank you, every Black woman who's affiliated and the unaffiliated for all that you're doing. Now that we know we can do this, we can put more Black women in the pipeline because we're not done yet. This is just the beginning of us exercising our political power. Thank you for this opportunity to speak and share with you. God bless as we continue to go higher heights.
Whew. Thank you so much, Professor Rutledge. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I feel like maybe we need Judge Rutledge. What do you think? We maybe just get her in the pipeline. Talking about the pipeline. Come on now. Wow. Thank you for sharing your personal reflections on Judge Jackson. It's so important for us to remember that at the center of all this is a human being who is a mom, who is many, many things. She is the excellence that we all saw last week during the hearings, but she's a woman of faith. She's a person. And sometimes that just gets lost in all the political back and forth. So thank you for that. We're really thrilled to introduce Sister Lakila Stemmons tonight. She's the National Director of Higher Heights. She focuses on expanding membership and engagement. And if you don't know Higher Heights, you should, because let me tell you what, I want y'all to think about running for office, because part of how we get more Black women at those key decision-making tables is we run for office. And Higher Heights is part of making sure that when Black women run for office, they have the resources that they need to compete and win. So Lakila, I'm so grateful to you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Karen. Professor Rutledge, thank you. That was such an inspiring to go after you. I was like, woo, but thank you. Yes, because we definitely need to move this country to higher heights. This is such an exciting and inspiring moment for our country, but especially for Black women. It is an honor to be here tonight in community and conversation with so many phenomenal Black women who are leading on the local, state, and national levels. I'm representing Higher Heights tonight on behalf of Glenda C. Carr, our president and CEO. As Karen stated, Higher Heights is the political home for Black women. We are exclusively dedicated to harnessing our political power to expand Black women's elected representation, voter participation, and to advance progressive policies. The nomination of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson provides us with an opportunity to advance equity and make strides towards representation on the bench of the highest court. For so long, America has looked to Black women to defend our democracy at the ballot box. We've had to be the moral compass of this country, the truth tellers and the fact checkers. Yet, we remain underrepresented in the state legislatures, on Capitol Hill, absent from governor's mansions and the United States Supreme Court. If America can look to Black women to defend and save our democracy at the ballot box, then she can look to a Black woman to be a guardian of our democracy from a seat on the United States Supreme Court. It is undeniable that many of the decisions made on the federal court are disproportionately impacting communities of color. In a moment where voting rights, abortion access, and democracy itself are under attack, it is critical that we have a perspective of a Black woman justice who is committed to equal justice and human rights. Justice Jackson, yes, Justice Jackson, because I've already claimed it, will bring a long overdue perspective and lived experience of fighting for equity and justice to the bench. And after she's confirmed, we will gather and we will celebrate. But then we will have to get back to work because we have more zeros to check off. And what do I mean by that, checking off zeros? Last year on International Women's Day, Higher Heights placed a full-page ad in the New York Times highlighting that 0 Black women have been elected governor. 0 Black women are currently sitting in the United States Senate. 0 Black women are on SCOTUS, and 0 Black women have been elected as US president. But because of all of you, we will be checking off one of those boxes. We will have a Black woman on the United States Supreme Court. But make no mistake, we will still need you after next week because we have some Black women that we need to get elected as governors and senators this year too. So thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for every call that you've made. Thank you for every letter that you've written. Thank you for joining us tonight because all of us in the collective look forward to join you in moving this country to higher heights.
Lakila, thank you so very much. It's a reminder, it all matters. The way we get to higher heights is together because that's how we got to this moment. And we're gonna be in our joy. We're gonna work hard next week. We're going to celebrate again, and then we're going to get right back to work because as we were reminded earlier in our program, we got to this moment because of what we did. And we've got to make sure that that roll call that Lakila just mentioned, that we make that happen too, that we elect more Black women. And the way to do that is to show up. So we're gonna come to, our program is gonna come to a close. I wanna thank Roland Martin Live. And I wanna thank you all for joining us. And just as I introduce our closing speaker, who is just a phenomenal woman who has been in this fight for, like so many of the women we heard from tonight, for so long, specifically around the Supreme Court. I want us all to just take 1 second and close our eyes. That first Monday in October, when the justices come out and they're in their robes and they sit down and they take the picture, I want you to keep the image in your mind of Ketanji Brown Jackson sitting there with the other justices in her rightful place. Keep that in your heart, keep that in your mind as we go through the next week and as we go through the next few months, because remember, y'all, let's open our eyes. She's going to be seated just a few weeks before Election Day. And we will have done that. So to help close us out, as I mentioned, Melanie Campbell, she is a fighter on the front lines. She is a sister warrior for women, for our communities, for our people, for our children. She is president and CEO of the National Coalition of Black Civic Participation, board chair, Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote. She is a friend. She is a mentor. She is one of the wise women of our time. And she's going to help close us out. Sister Melanie, it's so wonderful to have you with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a little laryngitis, so I'm not going to talk long. I've been straining it all day trying to make it through. So it's been wonderful to listen and hear. But Karen, thank you for, you do so much and so much behind the scenes that people just don't know. I'll be in the foxhole with you any day because I know you're going to show up. And so I'm not going to make the night long, but I just had to stop though to see my sister Jerry. And we were together last week with Leah and several of us in that room and prayed our way through that Texas senator who I don't even want to call his name and not take up too much of my voice. But I'm so glad to be here. I see several of our sisters from Black Women's Roundtable who are on the call. If I start calling names, I got to call one sister because she's also my board member. I see Solange Benton from Florida. And whatever I'm able to do is because of the sisters that make up the Black Women's Roundtable. But we are in solidarity with, my hashtag is Coalition Builder. So give me a coalition to join, I'm there. Because I know how powerful it is when we come together and we don't have to be in one coalition, we can be in multiple coalitions. Because at the end of the day, it's going to take, that's what's moving us forward in this country that it's at such a time as this, is why we're together. Our people need us to do what we're doing because the win is not, is the force field of the pushback because we are audacious enough to say that we're going to own our power. And we didn't just start when Joe Biden ran for office. We've been started. And we try to warn people, try to warn them for 2016, but they didn't listen. That's unfortunate. But we knew we had to come back and we had to fight. We had to keep pushing so that our children, our nieces, we all talk about the babies in our families or our mentees or whoever we may be touching. We know if we don't do it because those who did it before us did it, right? And so that's what it's all about. It's like, what are we doing in our dash? And I feel so good we're doing it together, Bishop. you know, Mignon and so many of us, we're doing it together. And the win that we will witness would do so much to make us, for all of our sisters on. People say, "Oh well, you know, that's a beltway thing about the Supreme Court." No, not the calls I get, not the conversations I'm hearing. Our folks and our sisters, we are shrewd. We are strategic about how we vote. We are strategic about what we got 1,000 things to do. But in those 1,000 things, we add 1,001 more to be on this call tonight, because it's important that we not just be in our silos, but we show that we know how to be in solidarity. So that's all I have to say. I'm just glad I had enough voice and to say a little bit of something, and just thank everybody. And I'm just can't wait for the victory.
Amen. Amen. Melanie, I'm going to send you some tips on how to help your voice. I got a few tricks.
When I get laryngitis, that means I need to stop. So I'm about to stop for a few days.
We got it. And that's a great thing for us to remember, y'all. We got to keep ourselves healthy. We got to keep ourselves healthy in body and soul and spirit. Keep ourselves prayed up. Keep ourselves drinking our water, eating our vegetables, because we got to be in this fight with her. So I think we can show you the image of the New York Times that I know some folks wanted to see. And there it is. Just beautiful, beautiful. And it just makes me so happy to have heard from Mignon that it was something that the judge herself got to see and know. And I know she can feel our love and our support. And so, sisters, thank you again for joining us tonight. I want to give thanks to God for bringing us together, for keeping us strong, for keeping us healthy, for keeping us in spirit and keeping us lifted, so that we're going to help her stay lifted through the vote on Monday, through that confirmation vote and anything that comes. And then we're going to rejoice and get back together and get back to work. Thank you all so much for everything you're doing. Thank you to all the wonderful, incredible women who joined us tonight. And I want to thank Chantel. I want to thank Bree. I don't even know all the names of all the people who have been working behind the scenes to make this go off so smoothly. Thank you. Thank you, Holly Holiday. We love you. And I know you're not with us, but you're with us in spirit. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed evening.